The FDA makes a new decision on a vaccine. A report is released on the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, and help is on the way to Oklahoma after the winter storms. OU Nightly starts now. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Sofia Olivas.
And I'm Olivia Dague. Tonight we begin with new hope for Americans looking for a COVID vaccine. Tonight, we know that the new Johnson & Johnson vaccine should be available by Sunday. The FDA approved the vaccine just moments ago. This third shot, approved for use in the United States, is a one-dose shot. But medical experts say it may not be as effective as Moderna and Pfizer vaccines that require 2 doses.
We have seen clear and compelling evidence that the Janssen vaccine candidate is well tolerated, has an acceptable safety profile, and most importantly, is highly efficacious.
The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is around 75% effective. The other shots are showing around 95% effective. People receiving vaccines do not currently have a choice on which one they receive, but that may change by the summer when more shots are available.
And a declassified U.S. intelligence reports confirmed that Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman approved an operation to capture or kill U.S. journalist Jamal Khashoggi. The Biden administration based the long-awaited report on the Crown Prince's control of the decision-making in the kingdom. The report also cites the direct involvement of a key advisor and members of the prince's security team. The report may result in President Biden taking punitive action against the Saudi Arabia in the future.
With nasty winter weather comes costly consequences to Oklahoma in the form of higher utility bills. That's why Governor Kevin Stitt is in our nation's capital today to discuss federal aid for Oklahomans. OU Nightly's Libbey Dean is also in D.C. and spoke with the governor. Libbey?
Thanks, Olivia. I'm here on Capitol Hill, where I met with Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt to discuss his plans while he's in D.C.
That some of the electricity bills are going to skyrocket, and so we're trying to figure out is there a federal solution to that with the historic cold weather. So just kind of putting that on the radar, also meeting with the Biden administration.
Stitt's second request for federal funding to recover from the historic winter storm was approved by President Joe Biden late last night. This major declaration makes federal funding available to all 77 counties in Oklahoma. Stitt also met with the delegation to discuss the state's coronavirus plans, as well as the effects of the landmark McGirt Supreme Court decision. I'm Libbey Dean, live from Washington, D.C.
Thanks, Libbey. And after last week's weather, I'm actually really excited that it's kind of been warmer here. It's been really nice.
Yeah, Emma Landeros has our first look at today's weather. Hey, Emma, is this calm weather here to stay?
Yeah, well, overall, it's been a very dreary day today. Current temperatures right now, 59 here in Oklahoma City, 53 in Norman. It is staying a little warmer up in that panhandle, but they're actually in a fire weather warning right now. That is in effect until tomorrow, 6 p.m. But coming up, I'm going to tell you about those rain chances, a slight warm up, and then, of course, your weekend forecast. Back to you.
Thanks for the latest updates, Emma. Tiger Woods suffered major injuries in a single car accident in California on Tuesday. Nightly's Sydney Baulier has details on the vehicle Woods was operating.
While the greatest name in golf recovers from major leg injuries, authorities attempt to piece together what caused Tiger Woods' single rollover car crash. Law enforcement officials say that Woods is able to heal from the accident due to the safety features available in modern cars.
I think this also kind of speaks to the marvel of modern automobiles and that they're much safer than they've ever been previously.
This is the car Tiger was driving, the 2021 Genesis GV80. Safety features in modern cars like this one are more advanced than ever before.
They've just come so far in all of the things that they do to protect you.
Today, I set out to find out exactly what those safety features are.
The GV80 has 10 airbags, rear cross traffic, forward collision advanced assistance with pedestrian and cycle detection.
Among other safety features, there is also a blind spot detector.
You hear that? I signaled that I wanted to change lanes, but somebody was in my blind spot.
There is also lane assist that physically pulls the vehicle back in the lane if it veers out.
Okay, so pulled me back in.
These are just a few aspects that could protect the vehicle from collision, but the golfer may not have been using these features. Safety features must be programmed on prior to the car's use to be active. Since the vehicle was loaned to Tiger for the Genesis Invitational, it is unknown whether these safety features were enabled prior to Tiger driving the car.
It wouldn't do anything if it wasn't set up.
Investigators are still currently trying to determine a cause for the accident, and more details are to come in the next few weeks. I'm Sydney Baulier, OU Nightly.
We could have a third stimulus check coming soon, and politicians are remaining busy today making last-minute decisions. OU Nightly's Grace Whitten joins us live with updates on that bill.
Olivia and Sofia, we have been told all week by politicians that the House plans to vote on the COVID-19 relief bill by today. Now, we don't know the House's vote yet, but we do know that a portion of the bill will not make it to the Senate's version, and that in the Senate version, and it's the $15 minimum wage hike. This was arguably the most debated part of the bill, which may make the bill more likely to cross the finish line. The Senate version of the bill would still include $1,400 stimulus checks, more unemployment assistance, and housing aid. Democrats are pushing to have the bill on President Joe Biden's desk by March 14th, when key unemployment programs end and more than 11 million Americans lose their benefits. While the bill is expected to pass, we will let you know when an official vote comes in. Reporting live, Grace Whitten, OU Nightly.
Within the past 24 hours, the Oklahoma State Department of Health reports nearly 900 new COVID cases and 18 deaths. The total number of active cases in the Sooner State has surpassed 13,000, yet there are 200 less active cases today than yesterday. Since the start of the pandemic, over 4,000 Oklahomans have died from COVID.
A new liquor bill is being voted on that would allow for drive-through liquor stores in Oklahoma. The hope is to help mom and pop liquor stores keep up with those big box stores. However, some owners are unsure if it'll actually help at all.
We have to rely on is not selling to an intoxicated person. And you only have moments, oftentimes, to evaluate that person when they come in the store, as far as, are they staggering? Can they stand there without weaving around? Do they have the bloodshot, watery eyes, slurred speech? You just have a little bit of time to evaluate them as to whether you should sell to them or not.
Sterling also told us the bill might do more harm than good, since stores like Walmart would have easier abilities to convert their facilities into a drive-through setup.
And after winter storms tore through the Lone Star State, relief is on the way.
Hear what changes are being discussed to avoid future disasters. And Biden nominates 3 individuals for positions on the USPS Board of Governors.
Find out what the Postmasters General had to say in response when OU Nightly returns. Welcome back to OU Nightly. President Biden arrived in Houston today to visit the city after the brutal February winter storms. Freezing conditions in Texas kept millions without power, heat, and running water. The Electrical Reliability Council of Texas stated that the key to preventing outages before the next winter event is winterizing power infrastructure. As of now, the president is scheduled to meet with local Houston leaders to discuss the storm relief efforts and the road to recovery. A military attack launched in the Middle East kills a handful of militants, per a U.S. official. Dylan Rivera has that story and the rest of today's headlines from around the world.
Syria has confirmed U.S. airstrikes near the country's eastern border with Iraq. U.S. military targeted an area believed to be used in a weapons smuggling operation by Iranian-backed militias. The attack isn't suspected to be an exact response to repeated rocket fire on American forces over the last couple of weeks. This is the first known military action under President Joe Biden. The Syrian government has yet to make an official statement. President Biden nominates 3 individuals for the U.S. Postal Service's Board of Governors. Current Postmaster General Louis DeJoy came under fire for changes made during the 2020 election that slowed the process of mail-in ballots. DeJoy, an appointee from the Trump administration, cannot directly be fired by the president. However, Biden can replace the Board of Governors that holds that power. DeJoy, not backing down, said when asked how long he'd stay, quote, "A long time, get used to me." Today, the WNBA unanimously approved the sale of the Atlanta Dream months after the controversy surrounding now former owner and former U.S. Senator Kelly Loeffler. Loeffler's ownership became an issue with players after the former Georgia senator called the WNBA's support of the Black Lives Matter movement, quote, divisive. Loeffler says she's proud of her accomplishments as an owner and wishes the team well. And finally, Jeep has resisted changing the name of the Grand Cherokee SUV even after Cherokee Principal Chief Chuck Hoskin Jr. has requested the American car company no longer use his tribe's name. Sophia, back to you.
Thanks, Dylan. NASA is renaming their headquarters after their first African-American female engineer. Mary Jackson was one of the hidden figures in NASA, but now she's getting her recognition. Jackson played a large role in the early days of NASA, making space travel possible. Well, she continues to be an inspiration to little girls across the nation.
And a Colorado mailman is delivering mail but receiving smiles. See how a young girl finds a forever friend from her porch. They said weather, please.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. Taking a look outside our Oklahoma City skyline cam, we see mostly cloudy conditions right now. 54 is our current temperature with winds coming out of the south, keeping us a little bit nice and cool. We are going to see a little bit of weather referring to showers and thunderstorms, mainly to our southeast part of the state right now. Here in Norman, though, we could be seeing a few scattered showers for us, but overall it's going to stay a little bit dry. Just again, most of that activity is going to stay further southeast for us here. For the evening planner, if you have plans to head out for your Friday night, we are going to cool off into 42 late this evening with mostly cloudy conditions, and the lows tonight across the state, 40s here in Norman, staying a little bit cooler up in that panhandle, but overall it's going to be very nice for us. For the rest of the week, we're going to have a little bit of a roller coaster ranging from 60s to 50s and then reaching back up into those 60s as our highs for us. But in a more detailed look at your 7-day forecast, 60s overall, warming up into the 60s and then getting a little bit of that sunshine. So overall, I'm really looking forward to these beautiful conditions, Sophia and Olivia.
You know, I love roller coasters, but not when it comes to our temperatures.
But you know what I do love? Making new friends.
You know, I totally agree. And I think the ones that are the most unexpected are the most special. Just like this mailman who's delivering smiles to a young girl in Colorado.
Bruce the mailman and an 8-year-old Ivy have a friendship unlike any other. Ivy Hutchins has autism, and her mom says she's had a hard time making friends her age.
Every day, Ivy waits on her porch for Bruce to deliver the mail, and he's even delivered Christmas and birthday gifts, including a signed card from all of Ivy's friends at the post office.
Those are just the sweetest stories. And now it's time to toss it to our friends at Big Friday Sports.
Hey, batter, I heard OU softball is on deck. Kaleigh, what else do you got for Big Friday?
That's right. The girls take on Arizona State at 5. But first, we'll talk about another team that kicked off their weekend tournament with a bang. what time is it?
I don't know, Kaylee. What time is it?
It's time for Big Friday Sports. I'm Kaylee Tingelstad, and he's Ben Thomas. Let's get into some sports.
The OU baseball team is down in Texas for the Round Rock Classic. The first of 3 games this weekend kicked off at noon today against the Auburn Tigers.
The Sooners took down the Tigers 4-3 in extra innings when junior Tyler Hardman singled in the bottom of the 10th inning to score the winning run. After being down 3-1 heading into the 8th inning, the Sooners scored 1 run in the 8th and the 9th inning to tie the game and send it to extras. They continue tomorrow night when they take on Texas A&M and finish the Classic Sunday afternoon against Baylor. The second-ranked OU softball team is back in action today with a doubleheader in Arizona. In Game 1, the Sooners continued their dominance with an 8-0 victory over New Mexico State. Freshman Jada Coleman led the way with 2 hits, including a home run and 2 runs batted in. The Bats look to stay hot when they take on Arizona State this afternoon, first pitch at 5 p.m.
It's time for Bedlam as the Oklahoma State Cowboys roll into Lloyd Noble Center to take on the 7th-ranked Sooners tomorrow afternoon. The boys are looking for redemption after falling to Kansas State earlier in the week 62-57. It's the first of back-to-back meetings between the 2 in-state rivals and the first one of the season. With every game becoming important as the season winds to a close, the team is preparing for the tough battle ahead.
Yeah, but they're good. They do a lot of things well. Coach Boynton's done a great job. They got a lot of weapons. Obviously, Cade's at the center of a lot of it, but other really good players around him. So they're good on both ends of the floor.
But the 3 games coming up, I mean, they're really big games, like you said, to get momentum moving into the Big 12 tournament and the NCAA tournament. So we really just got to take every one of them one game at a time and really just attack it.
I think you just have to have a real good idea of what you want to do, and then be aggressive with it, and then play with confidence. And again, it always comes down to kind of creating shots for each other and making good plays when you do get into the paint. So they block shots, they rebound the ball well. So when you get to the paint, you gotta make good decisions.
The women's gymnastics team is finally back in Norman tonight for the quad meet against Denver, Lindenwood, and Texas Women's. Head coach KJ Kindler is 3 wins away to reach 500 career wins, and it may be tonight.
The undefeated Sooners will hit the mat at 6:45 in Lloyd Noble. And 6 current and former Sooner men gymnasts are set to compete today and tomorrow at the USA Gymnastics Annual Winter Cup. Head coach Mark Williams leads 8 gymnasts at the meet, which is the most for one collegiate program at the meet.
OU track and field is down in Lubbock for today and tomorrow for the Big 12 Indoor Championships. The volleyball team is also down in Texas, but in Austin, taking on the Longhorns today and tomorrow. And soccer will be here in Norman against UCO tonight at 7 p.m.
And still to come on Big Friday Sports, ESPN has released a list of their top quarterbacks of the 2000s.
See where some former Sooners are ranked when we come back.
And welcome back to Big Friday Sports. If you plan on heading out to the Bedlam game here at Lloyd Noble Center Saturday at 2 p.m., beautiful conditions overall, mostly cloudy skies with the high in the 60s. It is going to be fairly windy, but overall, guys, it's just going to be a beautiful day for OU basketball game.
Tiger Woods has been transferred to a different hospital in Los Angeles to continue orthopedic care. He is in recovery for a compound fracture in his right leg, and additional injuries to the foot and ankle were stabilized with screws and pins. Woods has a long road to recovery ahead of him.
It may be rainy in Norman, but it's thundering in Oklahoma City.
Former Sooner Trae Young is heading home to Oklahoma when the Atlanta Hawks take on the Thunder. The Thunder are coming off a 102-99 victory over the San Antonio Spurs. Star guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dropped 42 points in the win and looks to continue his hot stretch tonight. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. Now going from the hardwood to the gridiron, ESPN has released their list of the top 60 collegiate quarterbacks of the 2000s. OU led the way with 6 quarterbacks in the top 60, including 2 in the top 10. Baker Mayfield finished number 1 on the list in front of former Auburn quarterback Cam Newton and Texas legend Vince Young. Kayleigh, how do you feel about the list? What stands out to you in your mind?
You know, let's just talk about them Sooners. With 6 quarterbacks in the list, There's a reason OU is called QBU. This list includes Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Sam Bradford, Jalen Hurts, Jason White, and Landry Jones. All of those players within the top 26. That really shows the coaching excellence that Oklahoma produces. If this doesn't show the talent between Bob Stoops and Lincoln Riley, I don't know what does. Ben, what are your thoughts on this list?
It's a very impressive list to see that many OU quarterbacks on the list, but to me, I'm going to highlight just the one name on the list, the one at the top of the list, Baker Mayfield. He finishes at number 1 due to his impressive play over his entire collegiate career. He threw for over 14,600 yards, 152 total touchdowns, and finishing his historic career with a Heisman Trophy in 2017. Going from a walk-on to a Heisman winner and first overall pick in the NFL draft, I couldn't agree more that Baker is the best college quarterback of the 2000s. Do you agree with that? I mean, Baker is Baker.
I'm going to have to agree that Baker should be in that number 1 spot. I think Cam Newton is sitting a little high, and there's someone that should be higher, and that's Kyler Murray, who is ranked 7th. I think he should at least be in the top 5. Murray threw for over 5,000 yards, had 50 touchdowns, and almost 2,000 rushing yards, and we all know Kyler can run. I know I'm a little biased, but I think Kyler should have been higher on that list. Ben, what do you think?
I see what you mean. He did have a Heisman Trophy winning season, and man, was he electric. His limited resume, though, might be the reason why we don't see him a little higher, but I think he still made the right choice to choose football over baseball.
You know, Ben, what do you think about having 6 Sooners on that list?
I mean, like you said earlier, it just is a credit to the coaching staff here. OU is one of the best football programs in the country, and hey, QBU is very apparent in that list alone.
Yeah, Joe Burrows was a little behind on that list too. I thought he could have been higher.
Yeah, he had that one good season. Being that it was only one, I think like the Kyler Murray situation is probably why he isn't higher, but you can't discredit the season he had, that's for sure.
Yeah. And, I mean, even Justin Fields is pretty high up there, which was shocking to me. He had a great end of the season this season.
Yeah, I thought it was maybe a little too high on the list, being that he is so recent, and there were probably a lot of really good quarterbacks earlier on in the 2000s that probably could have made the list, but he's an electric quarterback, and he should be definitely a high pick in the draft.
Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you for joining us for Big Friday Sports. I'm Kaleigh Tingelstad, and he's Ben Thomas.
Have a safe and Sooner sports-filled weekend. Good night.